George Lopez.
All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Have a seat.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Somebody asked me, "Yeah, how's this weather?" I'm like, "Shit, this is the same temperature of the room I grew up in."
He's still got his outside jacket
I love
on. That's
it.
how cold it is.
It's nice. I feel good. I love this temperature.
Well, welcome. Congratulations. This movie is incredible. I got to watch it a few days ago, and I was so moved by the story of these four young men, even though it's a story that's been told in Wired magazine. There was a documentary. This story, that, as you tell it, goes far deeper. What compelled you to make this movie?
Well, you know, this country and this world is made up of underdogs. This is really the first movie that I've done where social media plays such a huge part in getting the awareness out, right? So, you know, movie companies hire publicity firms, and they hire people to do focus groups. But I'm gonna tell you this, man. Carlos Penavega is in the movie as well. He's in Big Time Rush, and between he and I, we have created a social media buzz that is second only to American Sniper. So this is a really small movie, but I think that everybody has a dream. I think everybody can relate to this movie, and everybody is always wanting to be a hero. And we're all put out, like I was an underdog everybody's an underdog. This movie is about underdogs becoming heroes, and possibly this weekend we're not in the same amount of theaters clearly, but I think this movie, because people, are underdogs, can get noticed this weekend.
So this is the story of four young men who strive to build a robot.
Well, they're little misfits in school. They don't fit in. They get bullied and things. This happened in 2004. So a teacher's at the school. He decides to create a robotics club, and then these kids come in, and they're not formally trained. They're just very intelligent kids, and they go and get motors from old cars, of little race cars and stock cars, and those little motors. And then we in the movie went to a hardware store to get PVC pipe and glue and trolling motors, things that aren't necessarily the same kind of things a college would use or any other high school that has funds. So in truth, I found out from the kids that they got the PVC pipe not from a hardware store, but from the side of one of the kids' house, that they had PVC pipe. And then they created this robot that was an underwater robot. They designed it, they did the program for it, and they went to Santa Barbara to compete. And instead of competing against high schools, because they thought it would be embarrassing to lose to high schools, they entered in the college division. And they beat Stanford, Cornell, Duke, Harvard, Florida, and MIT. And these are four kids. The team consists of only four young Latino kids, and they beat MIT not only in 2004, 2005, and 2006, and they continue to excel at robotics at a community high school. So it's a very powerful little movie.
But there's the added twist that these four young men are undocumented.
The four guys are undocumented, yes. So when they win, you think when you win a competition like that all good things happen. But unfortunately, because of their status, it didn't turn out that way. And the movie deals with that. It's not a movie about immigration. It's just it happens to be a situation that was real to the story. But you don't have to be Latino to enjoy this film. When I was watching Rocky or Karate Kid or the movies that I liked, I didn't look at the Karate Kid as an Italian kid from New York trying to fit in California. I just looked like a kid that was having a hard time fitting in. So,
well, I remember as I was watching the movie, and again, it's called Spare Parts, opens Friday. Got to get those names in.
Spare Parts.
Spare Parts. As I was watching it, I was thinking a lot about my boyhood during the 70s in the Bronx.
Yeah.
Blue-collar family. My father is functional illiterate, and I was told I was going to be a mechanic.
Right.
And nothing wrong with being a mechanic,
No.
but I had bigger dreams for myself.
Right.
And I was watching this movie and connected so deeply with these four young men because they achieve by their wits and by any means necessary,
Right.
which is the ultimate American dream.
Well, there's an ingenuity that you have when you don't have the money that everyone else has, that you create a way to get things done. I think it was in the clip, the thing. So this robot leaked. The soldering iron had touched the rubber of seal, and it made a small burn. And when the robot was in the water, it would misfunction because water got into the wire, just a little bit of water. So they had to create a way so that it could still function. And they used a sock, they used a towel, and that didn't work. And then they said, we need something that's really absorbent and small. And they used a feminine product to put in there.
It's one of the funniest scenes in this movie. And it's absolutely hilarious.
And it did work. And the judges thought that was genius to be able to do that. Instead of redoing the whole thing, they found a way to make it work in the water for that time that it was actually doing running its course.
So this movie represents, from an observer's point of view, a shift in your goals creatively, that you want to do a different kind of storytelling. Is that fair?
I've been very fortunate to be able to have done a lot of things. My sitcom was very successful on ABC, and then my talk show ran a couple of years, and that was fun. But being a producer of this movie, Spare Parts, and having it be a tiny movie with, Marissa Tomei came on the movie, and it changed everything because, Academy Award winner, and then that drew a lot of attention to the movie. And then when Jamie Lee Curtis came on the movie, and Jamie Lee Curtis doesn't really leave Los Angeles much to do movies because of family obligations, and we did this in New Mexico, and Jamie Lee Curtis came for 2 days. She's great in the movie, holds it down very well. And then I called Esai Morales, and Esai Morales plays one of the kids' fathers, and then I play the teacher. It's very dramatic for me, something very different than people are used to seeing me do.
It's a great performance.
Heavy. Yeah, thank you. Very heavy, dramatic stuff, but fun still stuff too. So it's humorous, and it doesn't. The jokes don't lay there like jokes. They just lay there like conversations that people would have that would be humorous. It doesn't necessarily. It's not broad. But it's subtle, and the subtle stuff is sometimes very funny as well.
Well, it's very human and very relatable.
Yeah.
We're talking about the movie Spare Parts. Should we take a look at a clip from the movie?
Yeah, let's see what this...
That's a scene from Spare Parts, starring George Lopez. So, how many times did she slap you?
I can only remember the first 4. I think there might have been 3 more over there. It shook my molars, man, and it really does roll your eyes in your head.
Because I'm guessing the Oscar-winning Marissa Tomei doesn't fake a slap.
I said, I don't think she needs to hit me, and then it was never a situation where she wasn't going to hit me. I don't think she needs to hit me. Maybe once.
She's hardcore.
Shh, that's a real... My grandmother hit me, but never like that. So, my grandmother hit me from behind. I never saw her coming. This one I saw. It was still a surprise.
Tell me about the place you reached to find the confidence to lead this movie with such a big cast, with these young actors who were really looking to you for guidance. That's a big order for anybody.
Well, if you think about everybody's dreams and what you aspire to be when you're young, everything just looks like it's impossible. But really, nothing is impossible. So in looking at these young kids, forget color, everybody thinks they're wrapped up in color, but if you look at these young kids who for under $800 created this and designed this robot to function, and then because you don't think enough of your ability to enter with high schools because you think you're going to come in last, you enter in against colleges because you think if you can beat one college, then that's a victory. So even in our own dreams, we still create doubt in ourselves, and that's what's really powerful about this movie. For me, when I was growing up, man, I wrote jokes on the back of envelopes that were already used, and whatever I could find, and now that I look back, it was difficult to keep going back to a place and to comedy clubs and things when you're not very good and you're trying to find your way, but there's something that makes you go back and not quit. And, quitting is the end, and now when we're raised kids and there's so much that they're given, you can give somebody a car, and you can give somebody a compliment, but you can't give somebody will to continue. That has to come from within.
Where did you find your will? Go all the way back to when you knew that this is what you wanted. There's no more terrifying thing than standing on a stage with a
No.
microphone in your hand.
No.
None.
I just felt like I was different. I felt like I was a little bit different. Listen. I am not. I wasn't the best student in high school, and I did realize when I got out of school and I started to try to get into the workplace that I did squander several years of education trying to be cool and trying to be funny with time that I could not get back, and that was very disappointing to me. One of the things I think that hurt me the most was that I finally realized that all the guys that I hung out with are gone. And then, things change, and then you're left with what you've learned in school. And I really didn't apply myself very much. So I always had been drawn to comedy, and I thought, this is going to be something that's going to be harder than anything that I ever tried to do in my life. And I used to quit. I quit when things got tough. And I had a high school baseball coach that he and I, when I was in high school, got into it, and he broke me down. He said, man, when things get tough, you quit, and you're never going to be anything in life because you're a quitter. There's nothing worse than a quitter. And then when I started to play golf in 1981, and it was hard, I would quit. Like I'd play 7 holes, and I'd tell the guys I'm leaving. And they'd say, "Where are you going?" I said, I'm not playing very good. I want to go home. And one day on one of those trips home, I just thought of this guy, this teacher, Steve Martin. And I said, man, this guy was right. He was right. And then when baseball season started, usually around in March, one day I was probably 22. I drove to the high school and got out of my car, and after baseball practice was over, and I walked up to him and I apologized to him for disrespecting him while I was in high school, and told him how much I appreciated him trying to help me. And it wasn't until almost 4 years later that I realized that everything he was telling me was right.
What was it like the first time you felt like you had followed it through to the end and you scored?
Well, it was a feeling that I've done stand up a long time, and I've done better than that first time many times, but there's nothing like that first time that is kind of a transfusion or an influx or an infusion of love and of confidence and of like, hey, I can do this. I can do this. I always expected people to tell me that I could do something, but they weren't always going to be around, so I needed to believe it myself. And then at that point, in my early 20s, I believed that I could do so. I could do this.
And for those of you, if you ever want a boost, get to YouTube and type in George Lopez, Que Locos, and look at those old TV shows. Oh. Hilarious.
Just the hair is hilarious.
Well, but the confidence.
Yeah.
You had great camera presence. How like that show goes all the way back.
Yeah. But a dream doesn't live by itself. I've had some really, everybody's seen the original Willy Wonka, right? So I loved Willy Wonka when I was a kid because it's about a dream. It's about a kid that didn't have a lot of money, and there's this chocolate factory. There's 6 tickets. He never thinks he's going to get one. He finds money in the street. He buys a chocolate, and it's in there. And I was in Las Vegas in 1990, the summer of 90, opening for Sheena Easton at Bally's. And I saw in USA Today that Johnny Carson was leaving The Tonight Show in 1991. And I remember reading this thing in the Life section, and it said that 6 new comedians were going to be on The Tonight Show before he left, from that point till the next May of 92. And I never thought of myself being on The Tonight Show, much less thinking I would be one of the last 6 to do The Tonight Show. So on a Wednesday night in August of 91, he was leaving in 92, 2 months after, I'm at the Improv in Los Angeles on a Wednesday. And I always try to do my best no matter who was there, if there was 10 people or 100 people. And I went up there, and I didn't do too bad, you know. And this guy comes up to me afterwards, and he says, "I'm Jim McCauley. I'm the talent coordinator for the Tonight Show." And I said, "Oh, hey." He goes, "I like what you did." And I said, okay, all right." And then he said, "Congratulations. I'm gonna put his hand out. I'm gonna put you on the Tonight Show." And I was like, "What?" He goes, "You got the Tonight Show." And I got one of those last 6 spots before Johnny Carson left.
Isn't that something?
After seeing that thing, yeah.
So, in your mind, do you allow yourself to believe that that's skill or luck?
There's a little bit of luck, but listen, if you half-ass it, that guy doesn't do that. So I never half-assed it because you never know who's going to be out there.
Right.
So you treat every time like it's your first time. I learned that from Carlos Santana. He said, first time, every time. First time, every time you do it, treat it like it's the first time. That's good advice.
So do you, in the moments when you pause and think about your life, and certainly 2 days before a big movie opens, you might be doing that.
Yeah.
Do you stop and think that this is part of a mission? Because we did almost lose you a number of years ago. You nearly died, and as someone who's had a near-death experience myself, you spend some time, I imagine, asking why you got spared.
Well, I had kidney disease growing up, and I almost, when the doctor told me in like '98 that I had kidney disease, I couldn't stand up, and I was on the road, and I kind of bent. I was like, I walked like this, I walked this way.
Wow.
During the day and stuff, and I flew home like that. And then I went to the doctor, and he took my blood, and he says, "Wait here. I don't want you to go anywhere till I get the results back." And they took a couple hours. I'm sitting in the room a couple hours, kind of like that, like that. And he says, he comes in, he goes, "Hey, I got bad news." And I said, "What is it?" He goes, "You have advanced kidney disease." And I said, "Of course I do." And I said, "Because what haven't I had in my life? Like what? Why? Yeah, of course I got it." And I said, "Well, what do I need to do?" And he's like, "Well, by the time you're 44, you're going to need 45. You're going to need a transplant." And I needed one when I was 44. So and then I told my doctor at Cedars in Los Angeles. I said, "Listen, man, I just want to get this done. And I want to go on with my life. I don't want to be a poster boy for kidney disease. I don't want to have people know about it. I just want to get well and go back to work." And when I had the transplant in April, I think it was the 21st of April of 2005, I woke up and I felt better than I had ever felt in my life. And at that point, I decided that I was going to try to help people with who were sick, and to raise awareness for kidney disease, and to raise awareness for just good health, and getting your creatinine level checked, getting your blood pressure checked, and things like that. And since then, I've sent a lot of kids to camp who are afflicted with kidney disease.
Yeah.
I've raised awareness, millions of dollars. That's a dude. That's when I go back to work. I don't want anybody to know, but it was inhuman to turn my back on people who were sick. So I couldn't do it. And when I grew up, I was selfish, man. I only thought about myself, and I am not anything like I was when I was growing up. I'm not perfect. But I'm very kind to people. I probably am kinder to people than I am to myself, but I'm still working on that part.
Well, good for you.
Thank you.
It's interesting. Spare Parts, the new movie starring our new friend.
I'm
George
spare
Lopez.
parts. I got spare parts in me. I got other parts.
It is relatable, I believe, to every person who's in this room. I found it deeply relatable. But at the same time, as I was talking with a colleague of mine who's Mexican-American, he was so filled with personal pride.
Yeah.
Because
Thank you.
he said, "I don't ever see myself on a screen."
Yeah.
Not only as a Latino male, but as a Mexican-American male.
Yeah.
So to see this movie and to see you succeed, to see you thrive, is a huge thing. So what does it mean to know that he's just one of millions? I mean, it may seem like a leading question, but this movie is more than about all of us. This movie is about Mexican Americans. and the fight that they have to endure.
Well, there's a fight that everybody has to endure, but I will say this, not to separate Latinos or Mexican Americans from anybody else, but in this world right now, there's high tension racially, and there's a lot of things that are happening that are causing a lot of people pain. And we as Latinos only want to be included in the conversation. And I agree that all lives matter, and I agree that all children matter, and I agree that all dreams matter. But I also agree that dreams have no color, and a dream you cannot do by yourself, and you need other people to help you fulfill your dreams. And we need kindness in a society, and we're going to be all right. We are a strong world, and ignorance has always existed, and ignorance knows no color. It's just being stupid.
Yeah.
But we as Latinos clearly offer quite a bit to this country. So we're happy to be. We just want to be included in the conversation.
So how you've been, for someone who has such a great life as a very funny person, you also had this other life where you have advocated for people in politics whom you believed in. And
that's not anything like that's in my personality. Like, I never really wanted to do that, but there's a sense of being able to help that we don't usually have. Like, there's that pride there, There's that pride, or in being kind to somebody that I didn't learn from anybody in my family. Actually very unkind. So the unkindness created a kindness in me because I just thought I didn't want to be mean to anybody.
So are you taking a look at what your role might be in the next year or two?
I'm interested how people will react to this when they see me dramatic. See me not like they've seen me on my television show or in animation movies or however they see me.
It's a very different experience.
It's different, and I love social media. So I have great friends on social media, and you post stuff like that. But in no way is social media even. It's an accelerated life or a shinier life than we usually live.
Yeah.
They show people working out, and they show people taking pictures of their food. And they show people at the beach, and they show people on rooftops and sunsets and sun-ups. What about somebody struggling to get out of bed just to stand upright? Nobody posts that.
Oh, it's not as sexy
good morning.
as people think it is.
It took me 5 minutes to straighten up this morning. But in all of that, everybody tends to want to be noticed and cool and popular. But I'd rather just be kind.
Do you like being a leader?
Well, I don't know if I would call myself a leader, but I like who I am. I like who I'm becoming as I get older. As like the sands of the glass get less sand, I'm like, I better start being nice. I don't have that much sand left.
Why are people so not nice? You've made reference to being kind numerous times, and
there's a rush to our society. There's just a rush of, a text message is. Listen, I'm far be it from me to criticize anybody who texts. Sometimes I only have conversations with people texting, but it's a very impersonal thing.
Yeah.
Than to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, man, I'm running a little bit late. I'll see you when I get there." Just to text.
Yeah.
It's a very impersonal.
So tell me something. What do you find funny about life right now?
The foods that people can eat and not eat, gluten and whole foods and organic peanut butter and peanut butter allergies and kale. I mean, how long have we been around? I just heard of kale like in the last year. It was just lettuce. There was romaine, there was iceberg, there was like spinach leaves, and all of a sudden kale comes out. And then now there's low-fat vinaigrette. But when we were growing up, they had shit like Roquefort, which was all cheese and like chunks. It just took forever for it to get out of the bottle. That salad dressing is gone. Like they said, hey,
those were good days.
Those were good days, though. So Thousand Island, and dipping fries in ranch dressing. Those were the good old days.
Those were the good old days.
Peanut allergies. I was on a plane and they didn't have peanuts because one passenger had a peanut allergy. So I said, time to go Greyhound and give us the rest of the peanuts.
So you have this production company. Spare Parts is the first movie from this company,
Yep.
correct? So what else how many other movies do you have lined up?
I'm looking for the next
haven't picked one?
the next project. I haven't picked one yet, but there's some stuff I'm looking at. But I'm to stay in the moment. I'm waiting to see what the reaction to me as a dramatic actor is.
So what's
We'll see what happens. I mean, I'm just so happy. Like I'm still touring, doing stand up. I love doing stand up, and myself and Cedric the Entertainer and D.L. Hughley and Eddie Griffin and Charlie Murphy and Mike Epps, all of us are out on tour together. Together, all of us in one show on one night.
How often do you see each other?
We don't
you can't be traveling together.
No, we'll see each other at the end of the month in Jacksonville and in Tampa, then in Cincinnati and North Carolina. But we're going to come to New York. We're going to go to D.C. We're going to go to Detroit. We're gonna do a big tour of this thing, and it is fun. It's just listen, man, we got to laugh. It's just a fun night filled with some great comedians.
Do you get nervous before you go on stage?
Never.
Never?
No.
How do you size up the room when you walk in?
Like right now, this would be a good room right here. Very
This looks
diverse.
like a good room. Yeah.
Look like there's some sports fans. Very
Yeah.
diverse. This is a good room right here. You got some people that are a little bit older, a little bit younger. This is a good room right here. It's a good room.
George
I think we
Lopez?
should all get together and buy the Knicks. Everybody, pass around a hat. Let's turn it all around.
Well, y'all are going to get a chance to ask some questions as
Yeah.
well, but we do have another clip from Spare Parts.
Oh.
Shall we take a look?
Yeah, you guys want to see it?
Come on.
Come on.
Give them some love.
I hope I'm not putting anybody to sleep.
Parts opening Friday. George Lopez.
Thank you, everybody.
What's it like to see yourself on screen?
It's pretty brutal. I try to make myself look different. That's actually the real color of my hair, very gray. And no offense.
I was going to ask you that next.
Yeah, so I decided to go gray and then let my mustache and goatee grow. And it was rough because, people used to seeing you from your TV show. And if you go eat, there's always little kids. And they go, hey, this is George Lopez. And they go, you got old. Like, yeah, all right. How old are you? 7. All right. But that was the reaction to that. It's like, you got old. I went to Dwayne Reed in the cash register. The woman at the cash register told me, before she even told me hello, said, you got old. Even before she rang me up.
That's
She said,
mean.
I got old. It's. I guess I'm supposed to look like I looked on that show forever, but I can't.
You look pretty close to it.
Thank you. I feel pretty good. Don't let this jacket fool you. There's a little skinny dude under there.
So are we ready to get some questions from the audience for George Lopez? Yeah?
Let's stand up. Let's say where you're from, and let's say favorite song of all time. Let's make it
Wait.
interesting.
What's your favorite song of all time?
Mine is. There's a bunch of them. Mine is favorite of all time.
Just makes you go, when you hear it.
Wow, that's a pretty good one. I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say "Reasons" from Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Wow.
It just kept pop. There's so many that kept popping into my heart. I said "Reasons" is so great.
Pretty good. That's
so
pretty
great.
good.
And favorite song, by the way. Don't forget favorite song.
I don't have a favorite song of all time.
What?
All right. Since you're George Lopez, I'll tell you. My favorite song of all time is from Snoop Dogg, Gin and Juice.
That's what I'm saying. Come on, that's a good
Good.
song. Gin and Juice. What about the guy next to you? I think his is Gin and Juice too. Yes, sir. Question?
Yes, on School Dance, I like you played the father in that movie School Dance.
Yes.
I seen it a few months ago.
With Nick Cannon,
Yeah, with Nick Cannon, Mike Epps, so
Epps.
forth. Yeah.
Kevin Hart.
Yeah. So my question is, how was it working in that movie?
Well, with school dance, like movies like that, I just did it with Mike Epps. The great thing is that Nick Cannon was directing this film about interracial relationship and a school dance, and he asked a bunch of comedians to be in it. Kevin Hart was in it, Mike Epps was in it. There's a whole lot of guys in it, and we did it for practically no money. But what we did it for was to help each other out, and that's really a great thing to do, is be able to go in there and say, I got these guys to do it, and looking for no financial reward other than just being able to help another guy. So Mike Epps, I played the president in Mike Epps' movie that he's doing, which is like a parody of The Purge. That looks very funny. So, so to be able to help somebody just for a day and go in there and knock that out. But School Days came out pretty good. For a movie that wasn't made for a lot of money, it looks pretty good. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I was upset that my daughter was dating an African-American gentleman in the movie. And favorite song, by the way.
Favorite
don't
song.
forget.
Favorite song? I can think of right now I've been getting into Tamia. I don't know if you know her, R&B Tamia.
Yes.
I've been getting kind of back into her albums
Okay,
a little bit.
all right.
But I will ask you this. How do you decide what projects you get involved with? And is there a particular void in film and television that you'd like to fill?
Yeah. Like this, because it was based on a true story, and the Wired article was so strong, and I felt that there was a place for a movie like this. But a lot of things are a little bit derogatory of just like gangsta. I don't really do that. But as in a void in TV. I'm happy that my first show is still on. I think it's on Nickelodeon every night and MTV, and people get to see that. But if something is good, and I always try to create it. Like earlier last year, I did a show called St. George on FX, which I liked, by the way, with Danny Trejo. Machete was in it.
That was
and
a great
David
show.
Zayas here from New York. It was a fun show. I liked it. And it was about a guy who had kind of come up and made a name for himself and created an energy drink, and it's always trying to be a little bit positive. But Gina Rodriguez winning a Golden Globe for Jane the Virgin is fantastic, and there's great portrayals. Scandal and everything that's going on there. So gradually things, House of Lies, Don Cheadle, and those shows that are great with leads that are of color are all great stuff. So the needle is going in the right direction.
Hi, my name is Julian. I just say my favorite song, right?
Yes.
Probably "Break On Through" by The Doors.
Oh,
I'd say. Yeah.
All right. You guys remember that one? Yeah.
First of all, I want to say you're a huge inspiration to the whole Latino community.
Thank
Since
you
I was
very
younger,
much.
I've looked up to you.
Thank you.
I was wondering what made you fully commit to show business, because I'm sure when you were younger, you were very maybe undecided, and you were thinking maybe it's not realistic or serious. But I know
absolutely.
that sure it was in your heart and your
All
your
of it.
passion. So I was wondering what part of your life did you fully commit?
Well, I went through some very dark times, from like 95 to 99. Very dark. Alcohol, a lot of alcohol. Had a little incident last year with some alcohol too. It's been a struggle for me to get that right. Never had a really good relationship with it. Kind of wish the one thing I would do all over again. I probably wouldn't drink anything for back then if I realized how much damage it can do to somebody. In 2000, Sandra Bullock came to see me at an improv in Brea, California. And then she got involved with me because she liked my stand-up to do the show. So it became my sitcom. But nobody was running out there to help me. So I owe her an incredible debt of gratitude for believing in me and sticking with me and making that show happen. And then you have to do stuff on your own. I mean, I still had to deliver stories, and a lot of them were from my life. But without that initial hand up, I'm not sure where I would be, and I think my career would be different without a hand, without her assistance. So and she knows how much I respect and love her for that.
Hello, my name is Andre. I'm a young actor based here in New York. Favorite song? I would say Kanye West, Good Life.
All right.
That song changed my life. As far as the question, I wanted to know, when it comes to intention in the career thing, the industry, I call it an industry.
It is.
I feel like I came in it for a different intention. How do you stay focused on that and still be business oriented?
What intention what do you aspire to do in that business?
I feel like I can use this medium to talk to people, basically, and to help people find their purpose in life.
Yep.
That's how I mean, Will Smith was one of my biggest, people.
Yes.
I mean, when I didn't
Right.
learn from teachers, I didn't learn from preachers, I learned from artists.
Right.
And how do you stay focused on that and also stay business oriented?
Well, the thing is that the public personality is kind of like a veneer to the other person underneath. So if you separate the two and not believe that you are super or better than anyone else, so you just try to remain humble underneath and then do your work that you have to do. But I've run into a lot of people when I had my talk show that really did think they were special. Really just were affected by the business.
They're very sad people.
Man,
They're very sad people. I
Wow.
meet them every day.
Oh, right.
Every day of my life.
They start to walk around like they are detectives or mafiosos, or and it does, that kind of does affect you. But if you stay grounded and stay real underneath and let the work speak for itself and not have to tell somebody who you are or what you do, you'll find a place and you'll inspire other people, because of humility inspires people. Somebody being humble and yet remaining talented and focused and driven, but yet down to earth. It's a tough combination to get, but
you know what? What's so
you
beautiful
look
about
like you
this
got
movie?
it. I feel it.
This movie, Spare Parts, is an example of how he's doing that, because it's funny, it's really entertaining, but it has a mission, and it has very clear intention that will really blow you away when you see it, and that's
Thank you.
it's good for you to hear it from someone who's not him, because I've seen the movie and I think it's a terrific movie, and it really does. It'll answer all your questions.
Yeah, I wish you the best of luck as well.
My favorite song.
Dime.
One of the Beatles. She love you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She love you. And I come from Mexico.
Oh,
Yes.
the Beatles. Hey, Mexico and the Beatles. Yes, of
Very
course.
impressive.
Yeah, right?
Of course.
Yeah. I remember I was in Mexico and they were playing Yellow Submarine and nobody could
Oh,
speak
yeah.
English, but everybody was singing Yellow Submarine. That was badass. It might have been the margaritas, but it might have been Yellow Submarine too. A little bit of both.
True. You ever think about to go back to Mexico? I mean, work in Mexico and do some
En las
films
películas
in
de
there?
Mexico? This movie is going to premiere in Mexico, and it's called Los Inventores, the inventors. So this movie will go to Mexico, yes. But I think Eugenio Derbez is an incredibly talented actor from Mexico, and I would love to have him help me with the Mexican audience, and then me help him to get a larger American audience and do a movie together. I think that would be good. Yeah, I would like that.
Well, the movie is called
Thank
Spare
you.
Parts.
Gracias a usted.
Stars George Lopez.
Thank you. You're very kind. Listen, everybody. I know everybody. I appreciate every one of you coming here to listen to me talk about this movie. I think you will like this movie. Listen, it is inspiring. However you live your life, we all want to be somebody, and this movie is about kids becoming somebody, but not posing, earning it. It all has to be earned. To be appreciated, it must be earned. Yes.
Thank you,
So
everybody.
thank you, and thank you.